Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Roly Marks. This is the Israel Brief brought to you by Lay of the Land, where we bring you your top stories from Israel every Monday to Thursday. And as an accredited news reporter, all news that is broadcast on the Israel Brief is accurate and accredited. Let's get into today's top stories, and we begin with news of yet another terror attack, this time in the Tel Aviv suburb of Bnei Brak last night. So let's take a look at events as they have unfolded. A gunman believed to have come from the West Bank, Palestinian, entered the country and opened fire with an M16, killing 5. Now, we're not going to announce the name of the terrorist. We are not going to give him that notoriety, but what we are going to do is to pay tribute to the victims. Amir Khoury, an Arab-Israeli Christian police officer. Rabbi Avishai Yeheskel, a father of one whose wife is pregnant. He was laid to rest earlier today. And another father, Yaakov Shalom. The terror attack also claimed the lives of 2 Ukrainian foreign workers. This has been confirmed by the Ukrainian embassy. And what we do know is that these 2 workers were in the country before the outbreak of the war with Russia. Now, questions are being asked: how did the terrorist manage to get into the country, and where did he get his weapon from? Did he bring it in with him? Did he get it here inside the country? The IDF confirmed just earlier today that they had arrested 5 in the town that he came from in connection with last night's terror attack. Now, the terror attack has been roundly condemned by many countries, including the United Arab Emirates, the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, Austria, Romania, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, and various others. But what is interesting is condemnations also coming in from Turkey, Belgium, and Ireland, countries that haven't been so friendly towards Israel in recent years, despite ties between Turkey and Israel starting to warm up. And of course, there will be pressure put on Erdogan to do something about Hamas cells that are present in his country. Now, Defense Minister Benny Gantz put the pressure on Palestinian Authority Mahmoud Abbas to also condemn the attack, which he did, saying that it is not progressive, or it doesn't serve the cause for peace for both people. This came after the defense minister threatened to withhold many concessions that Jerusalem is giving Ramallah, including the entry visas or entry permits for many Palestinian workers. Hamas, the terror group, have lauded the attack. Khaled Mashal, the leader of Hamas, praising the attackers. Our Prime Minister Benny Gantz saying that Israel is facing an unprecedented terror wave. However, he also said that this is not the first time in our history, and we will remain resilient, resolute, and we will ensure that terror does not win. And just earlier today, Benny Gantz announced that the IDF will be bolstering efforts from the police by adding 1,000 IDF troops. This comes as Israel is in a state of high alert. Now, another historical event is taking place between Israel and Jordan as President Herzog landed in Amman just about an hour or so ago and is currently meeting with His Royal Highness King Abdullah. Up for discussion will be issues like increasing cooperation between the 2 countries as well as in the region, and they will certainly be discussing opportunities to do this. The president was welcomed with a royal guard of honor. The aides on both sides are present to give advice, and we are waiting with eager anticipation for a joint press statement to come as soon as meetings have concluded. We also know that the president will convey wishes of Ramadan Kareem to the people of Jordan, and the two leaders will also discuss ways to ensure calm during the month of Ramadan. We are especially concerned because traditionally we have seen an uptick in violence during this time, and of course, following the recent spate of terror attacks, are bracing for what could be a difficult month. We now go to the United States, where 68 US senators have sent Secretary of State Antony Blinken a letter asking that the Biden administration, as it re-enters the United Nations Human Rights Council, stops the disproportionate focus on Israel. The United States senators go on to say that this focus on Israel is not just seen as steps to try and delegitimize the Jewish state, but also pulls focus from real human rights abuses around the world. The senators ask that the fact-finding missions or inquiries that are mandated by the UNHRC to Israel be stopped, and that effort, which also costs a lot of money that comes from the taxpayer in the United States pocket, be put towards focusing on human rights violations around the world. It will be interesting to see how this letter was received, and not just by the Biden administration, but by the UNHRC. And our final story stays with bilateral ties, and this time between Austria and Israel, as the Austrian Foreign Minister Alexander Schallenberg visits the country. He noted that ties between our two countries have never been stronger and are built to last, and also lauded Israeli mediation efforts in the war between Ukraine and Russia. So this brings us to the end of today's news headlines. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook at Lottel Site, or like us and share our content. We are also on our website at www.layoftheland.online, on YouTube at The Israel Brief. Please like, share and subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button, and follow us on Twitter at layoftheland5. I'm Rolene Marks. This is The Israel Brief. Thank you for watching, and we'll check in with each other for your headlines tomorrow.